Best Dressed Engine. It was May Day on the Island of Sodor. Everyone was celebrating. They knew there'd be music and lots of fun. The station was being decorated. Sir Topham Hatt said the engines could be decorated too. "I'm gonna have flags and streamers," whistled Percy. "I'm gonna have a big red banner," whistled Thomas. "What decorations will you have, Gordon?" asked Murdoch. "Decorations are dignified for an important engine like me. I pull the express." Gordon was feeling insulted. "Silly little engines," he grunted. As he puffed along, he grumbled more. "Me with decorations! What cheek!" Meanwhile, Thomas was enjoying himself. He was bringing the maypole. The farmers' children waved. Thomas peeped happily as he passed by. Soon, it was time for the engines to be decorated. Percy's driver was wrapping streamers and flags around his funnel. Thomas had a big red banner on his tanks. Even Murdoch was decorated, although he was very shy about it. "You know, we could have a contest for best dressed engine," suggested James. Just then, Gordon shunted in. "A contest?" he puffed. "I'm bound to win any contest." "You'll have to be decorated," said James. "This is a best dressed engine competition." "Not me," puffed Gordon. "You'll never catch me looking so ridiculous." All the engines were feeling splendid. Hello. But not Gordon. He was cross. "Decorations aren't dignified. Huh. Who cares about a contest anyways?" Further down his line, a colorful banner was strung across the bridge. Then, as Gordon steamed across the bridge, it came loose and wrapped around his firebox. "Oh, what's happening?" Gordon couldn't see the line ahead. He tried to whoosh the banner off, but it wouldn't budge. "I can't see!" he whistled loudly to his driver. "Stop!" "You can't stop, Gordon," his driver called. "You're the express." Trevor was chugging slowly along with his load of apples for the children's apple bob. Trevor heard a whistle. He was going as fast as he could, but it wasn't fast enough. Oh! The apples were smashed. What even was that? James was the last engine to join the contest. Or so he thought. "Here comes Gordon!" cried the passengers. "We didn't think he wanted to be decorated," teased Thomas. "I didn't," huffed Gordon. "Well, you definitely are the best-dressed engine," said James. All the engines laughed and agreed. Gordon was secretly pleased, however, but he didn't think it was dignified to say so. Silly Gordon. Harold and the Flying Horse. Harold the helicopter is glad not to be a steam engine. He is much happier flying in the sky than racing along on road or rail. One sunny morning, the engines were busy preparing for the vicar's annual garden party. "I'd like to help," called Harold, "but I'm on patrol." He was looking for engines that might be in trouble. Meanwhile, the engines puffed to and fro with the loads for the party. Percy was delivering deck chairs, decorations, tables, and tea urns, and most importantly, reminders. "Don't forget to come to the vicar's party." "Thanks for the invitation," called Harold, "but duty calls." And he whirred away. Harold was landing at his airfield to collect more fuel when he saw Pegasus, the cart horse that lived close by. Pegasus was getting ready to give rides to the children. He had a shiny leather harness and a freshly painted cart. Harold was beginning to feel left out of the celebrations. He wished more than ever that he could help. Thomas puffed in with some passengers. "Where are you going next?" buzzed Harold. "To the vicar's party, of course. Everyone's going." "Well, everyone except me," replied Harold. "I'm still on duty." "Yes, indeed," said Thomas kindly. "Being a rescue helicopter is important work." "But no one needs rescuing," sighed Harold. Then came a surprise. Harold's pilot received an urgent call from Sir Topham Hatt. "Pegasus is stuck in a ditch. If he doesn't get to the vicar's party, the children will be very disappointed. You must rescue him, at once." "All set and ready for action," reported Harold. "Pegasus?" wondered Percy. "That's a funny name for a horse." "It's the name of a flying horse in a very old story," explained Sir Topham Hatt. "Flying horse?" exclaimed Percy. "Horses can't fly." He felt very clever. Harold flew to the rescue as fast as he could. "What happened?" he asked Thomas. "We were loading the cart. Pegasus wandered off into the ditch. Silly horse. Now he's stuck. If you can take him, I can take the cart." "I'll put Pegasus in my sling." "We need to hurry," said Thomas. "The party is about to begin." And he steamed away. Soon, Harold's pilot had fitted Harold's sling under Pegasus. Then Harold lifted him gently into the air. When Percy saw Pegasus flying through the sky, he was amazed. "Well, flatten my funnel, so horses can fly after all." The children cheered for Harold. He had saved the day. Soon, Pegasus was hitched up to the cart. The party was a big success, and the children had a wonderful time. Harold was happy. He had stayed on duty and had fun at the party too. Huzzah! The grand opening. The engines on the mountain railway were excited. They were helping to build a new line. It would take visitors to even more beautiful places on the Island of Sodor. Sir Topham Hatt arrived with important news. The grand opening is this afternoon. I want to see the new line from the air. Lady Hatt and I will arrive on Harold the helicopter. Just then, Skarloey chugged in. You're late for the announcements, complained Sir Topham Hatt. Really useful engines are never late. I'm sorry, sir. At the airfield, there was another problem. Harold's experiencing some engine troubles, said the pilot. Harold's not going anywhere today. Lady Hatt was most upset. But I've been looking forward to the grand opening all week. And I, my dear, will find a solution. And he did. Topham, you can't be serious. Me, right in this? The wind direction is perfect. We'll be there in no time. Soon the hot air balloon rose into the sky. Skarloey was upset. All this extra work is going to make me late again. The hot air balloon was floating peacefully through the sky. Lady Hatt was enjoying herself. The new line looks splendid, she said. Thank you, my dear, replied Sir Topham Hatt. Down the track, the workmen were still loading their ladders. Hurry up! Hurry up! Skarloey puffed. If Skarloey doesn't hurry, sighed Sir Topham Hatt, he'll be late again. All the engines were ready for the grand opening. Where's Skarloey? Rusty asked. He promised he'd be on time, said Peter Sam. At last, Skarloey was on his way. Then there was trouble. The balloon's flames suddenly went out. The air in the balloon cooled, and the balloon started to fall. Hold tight, the pilot called. I want to get out, demanded Lady Hatt. Not now, dear, said Sir Topham Hatt. Puffed Skarloey. They're going awfully low. Wait, that balloon's gonna land in the tree, cried Skarloey. And it came down, right in front of him. There's Sir Topham Hatt. My hat is ruined, cried Lady Hatt. So is mine, said Sir Topham Hatt. Don't worry, cried Skarloey's driver. We'll soon have you down. Am I glad to see you, Skarloey. Thank you, sir. Before long, Sir Topham Hatt and Lady Hatt were safely on the ground. They boarded Skarloey's boxcars and set off at once. Everyone was waiting as Skarloey brought his important passengers to the grand opening. Sir Topham Hatt declared the new line open. With special thanks to Skarloey, he said, for helping us to get here. Everyone cheered. Even so, you were still late, teased Rusty. I know, said Skarloey, but because I was late, Sir Topham Hatt was right on time. The Refreshment Lady's tea shop. It was a hot summer's day on the Island of Sodor. The engines were busy taking cars full of slate from the quarry. The heat and dust made their axles ache. We've shunted every single car in the quarry today, wheezed Scarloey. But I'm too thirsty to feel useful, complained Peter Sam. The sunshine made people thirsty too. The Refreshment Lady was keeping very busy at the tea rooms. The next day, Sir Topham Hatt had news for Peter Sam. The Refreshment Lady needs a new place for another tea room. I can find a beautiful place. I knew it. It will be a piece of cake. Tea rooms don't live in cakes. Oh, it's just my way of saying it'll be fun and easy to find the right place. Peter Sam puffed along to the wooden way and the old castle causeway and the whispering waterfall. Thank you, Peter Sam, said the Refreshment Lady, but I don't know what to do. I can't make up my mind. What a shame. I can't build a tea room in every single place. Peter Sam was upset. He didn't feel useful. That night, there was a storm. Lightning flashed and thunder crashed. The engines talked excitedly about the storm. All except Peter Sam. He was thinking about the Refreshment Lady's tea room. The next morning, Sir Topham Hatt came to the sheds. Peter Sam, I want you to go and help Rusty clear the storm damage. Yes, sir, Peter Sam said, and hurried away. At last, he thought he could be really useful. Peter Sam soon found Rusty. The storm had swept the shed onto the line. Driver says the shed is useless now. It's not a shed, exclaimed Peter Sam. It's an old coach. And that gave him an idea. Back at the yards, his driver spoke to Sir Topham Hatt. Peter Sam thinks this old coach can be turned into a tea room. I'll have Jem take a look at it. I'm sure he can repair it. Sir Topham Hatt was right. In no time, the old coach had turned into a lovely tea room on wheels. The Refreshment Lady could hardly believe her eyes. Ooh, it's beautiful. I told you it'd be a piece of cake. Sir Topham Hatt paused for a moment. With many cakes in it, I'm sure. Then he turned to Peter Sam. And you, Peter Sam, will have the honors to pull the tea room special. I'll be proud to, sir, replied Peter Sam. Now the Refreshment Lady serves refreshments all to her favorite places. At the Woodland Way, the old castle causeway, and the whispering waterfall. Peter Sam is a happy engine now. Well, tooted Peter Sam, she did say it would be a piece of cake. Edward's brass band. Summer is a busy time on the island of Sodor. Vacationers have so much to see and do. There are trips to the seaside, balloon rides in the country, and the brass band playing in the park. One morning, Edward was in a hurry. He didn't even stop to say hello to Stepney. Oh. Thomas was pleased to see Edward. What's up? Your smile is as broad as your smoke box. I'm on my way to pick up the brass band, replied Edward. Their concert is tomorrow night. Don't crack your smoke box, teased Thomas. Edward couldn't wait to hear the brass band play their wonderful music. He was so excited about meeting the brass band that he didn't notice the giant crane. It was unloading a huge ship's boiler. Suddenly, the crane swung the boiler and knocked Edward right off the tracks. Cranky had been watching the whole time. You useless little engines, always getting in the way. Poor Edward. Sir Topham Hatt came immediately. We will take you to the fitness yard, and Bertie will have to meet the brass band instead of you. Edward was sad. That night, a raging storm rolled in. The fitters worked through the night, trying to mend Edward. The rain pelted down. Now Edward felt sad and very damned. Morning came, and Sir Topham Hatt arrived. Please, sir, pleaded Edward. Will the fittings be done soon? Not soon enough, I'm afraid. The band can't wait. I'm sorry, Edward. Bertie will have to take them instead. Edward felt worse than ever. Meanwhile, Bertie collected the brass band, and he set off immediately. He bummed cheerfully along the country roads, but then there was trouble ahead. Last night's storm had flooded the roads. Bertie's driver decided to take a shortcut. But the problem was, it was very muddy. Bertie's wheels didn't stand a chance. They scooted and skated. They slid and they skipped. But Bertie ended up stuck. Ah, shit, he groaned. Ugh. Bertie revved his engine, but his wheels just spun round and round. He couldn't budge. The brass band were worried. We mustn't be late for our concert. Tune up your tuna, cried the leader of the band. We'll call for help. By now, Edward was mended and hooked up to his coaches. I can hear music, said Charlie. That's not music, wheezed Edward. That's an alarm. And the two raced off to the rescue. The musicians were delighted to see their old friend. Look, Edward saved! So was Bertie. I'll get you to the concert in time, Edward cried.
Yeah.
Thank you. They all spoke at the same time. Mustn't be late, mustn't be late. That night, the concert was a great success. Everyone loved the music. But no one loved it more than Edward the Blue Engine. Hooray for Thomas! It was an exciting day on the Island of Sodor. Good morning, called Harold. Annie and Clarabelle were full of happy children. Thomas was taking them to their annual sports day. Everything was ready for the day to begin. I do hope I'm number 1 and win a medal, said a boy. It must be splendid to win a medal, chuffed Thomas. After all, I'm engine number 1. Thomas worked hard all afternoon, but he couldn't stop thinking about medals. He imagined himself wearing a gold medal on a bright red ribbon. Yes, that's very smart, he thought. Hello, Thomas, whistled Percy. I'm taking Sir Topham Hatt to the sports day. You can see the egg and spoon race, chuffed Thomas. I didn't know eggs and spoons had races. The children race with eggs and spoons, said Bertie. And the winner gets a medal. I wish I could have a medal. You need to win a race first, whistled Percy. I'll race you, Thomas. The first one to the station is the winner. You're on, called Thomas. All right, ready, steady, go. Bertie was in the lead until he saw Trevor ahead, pulling a hay cart.
Oh, would you move it?
Better hurry, Bertie, peeped Thomas. Then, Thomas had to stop to pick up some passengers. Hurry yourself, Thomas, teased Bertie as he rattled over the bridge. Then, Bertie had to stop at the level crossing. Last one there, puffs hot air, called Thomas.